Hey, good morning, you guys. Good morning. So this is Empress Rayne. My channel is Empress Rayne Tarot. Uh, so I know y'all noticed that my posting is very inconsistent. Um, I've been going through so much spiritually. It's just been crazy for me. I lost my grandmother, and it was hard because not only am I consoling myself, but I'm consoling 5 children who actually understand what it is to lose somebody so significant to them. On top of them being treated very wrong by my mother, who also treats me wrong as her daughter. And you would think that because my grandmother died, she was tough, but she loved us. And she always preached to us that, we had to live our best life. And God always knew our heart. But, for as long as I can remember, and this is me being truthfully honest, I can tell you that my mama does not love me. She married the man that molested me, and to this day she still thinks that I'm lying, even though she knows I told the truth. I'm gonna try not to cry because I gotta get this out. I do, because it can help somebody. Like what Langston Hughes said was, life ain't no crystal stair, baby, and he was so right. So if there's a message in this for you, I hope it helps. So I'm about to just basically break down my life story and why it has been so hard for me to constantly keep posting the way I want to, and how I'm gonna fix that and manifest better. So to me, my grandmother on my daddy's side, we call her Ann, Dolores, and I love that lady to death. I could talk to her about anything. When I say anything, I mean anything, y'all. Like, she is what I wish my mother could have been to me. Yes, spoiled me rotten. Made sure I didn't want for anything. And, to this day, she still is like that with me, and I break my neck for that lady. Again, my grandmother on my mom's side passed away, and we call her Big Mom. She was the heart of our family on my mom's side. Like, we didn't, me especially, I didn't know my granddaddy. He had passed away way before I was born. But I knew his lineage, his heritage, and things like that. So all of this I'm saying because it ties into a lot of what I'm finna start talking about. Again, as a young kid, I did not know my mama didn't love me. But now, at the age of 31, I do. I know she doesn't love me. And I'm having to be okay with it. And it hurts, y'all. And it hurts so bad. Like I said, I'm going to try not to cry. But, man, it's like, for me to be my age, I yearn for my mother's love because I've never had it. Again, she married the man that molested me. So I believe that's the grudge she has against me. Because I actually came to her and told her he touched me. I never said he raped me. He touched me inappropriately. And I've always stuck to that story. I was 12 in my room. My youngest sister was up in the front room asleep, and he came in the room. He had a bottle in his hand, and at the time I was in the bathroom trying to do something to my hair, but he was drunk. I remember like it was yesterday. He was drunk, and he came in and put his hands in places where they shouldn't have went. And I thought by telling my mom that she would protect me, but she did not. She turned on me, y'all. She tried to give me away to the state, foster care. And I would have been okay with that, because if you're not going to love me, then leave me alone, right? That's in any situation. If you can't love me the way that I'm going to love you, And she my mama, y'all. I love that lady with all my heart, but I don't like her and I don't want nothing to do with her. And I hate to say that. It hurts to say that. But let's go back before we get into that. How about that? So I got molested at 12. I stayed with my grandmother for a few years of my life growing up. My grandmother traveled a lot. Louisiana was a main place for us. Again, my grandmother was my heart. My dad really wasn't there for me like that, but you know, Papa was a Rolling Stone, and that's all I can say. I'm talking about big Rolling Stone, y'all. Papa was a Rolling Stone. And then, like, my dad was like my brother, basically, growing up. All my uncles are like my brothers because my grandmother raised me. And my grandmother raised me to always show love. And growing up, I realized that not only was it my strength, but it was a big weakness because I didn't know how to turn my love off. Okay? So that's the first start. I remember being 6 years old and my great grandmother, more like maybe like 2 weeks before she actually passed away, which was so weird. My great grandmother was Indian and Creole, and I had heard stories of her being basically like a voodoo priestess, but I didn't, look into all of that because at the end of the day, I feel like whatever you believe in is what you believe in as long as your intentions are pure, right? That's the way my grandmother raised me, to always be pure at heart, to always have the right intentions behind whatever you do. And if you don't, to acknowledge it and fix it as a grown adult and even as a kid, because as kids, we were little adults. We had our own minds, right? So my great grandmother, we call her Choctaw, Cha-Cha, she has some powers. She did some things. She was a healer, I do know, Reiki healer. But, and like I said, it's crazy because this was like 2 weeks before she passed away, and it was just out of nowhere, which was weird. She had told me, she was like, it's time for your initiation. And I'm 6, and I'm like, what? Initiation? And she was like, you're touched by the spirits, baby girl, you've been touched by the spirit. She said it was on you when you was born. She said you didn't even make it into the delivery room, which I've always heard that story. My daddy them always tells it. I was born in between the veils. So like in between the veils in our world, the 3D, because the 3D is the earthly realm. Then you have the 5D, which is the spiritual realm, and it goes up. It goes further up. And the more you learn and grow your soul, the more you can experience and the gifts that God has for you. So boom. She told me I was touched by the spirits. Again, at 6, did not understand any of it. But it was a big lesson for me. Big blessing too. Because that's when I realized and found out that the devil was trying to come get me. She said I had mighty power. That I came from evil and good. And y'all hear that all the time, right? But I don't believe no shit like that until I actually see it happen. And when it happened, I got scared. I ran like a motherfucker. I ran. So. I ran. And then like, okay, again, this is like 2-3 years later when my mama had got me back from my grandmother. I seen like. Live or you just talking? No, I'm doing a recording. But I had seen. One night I was asleep, and I never considered myself to be a bad child. As a child, I was always good. Now, as a teenager, it's a different story. You ain't bad, you dancing. But I was forced to grow up early, so that's that. But as a child, like 6, 7, and 8, I was pretty cool. My grandmother took me everywhere. I got what I wanted. Shit, I was that kid that got them limited Space Jam Jordans when they came out the day of. Like, my grandmother spoiled me. And then my mama came and got me, and it was like going from rags to riches. Riches to rags. Sorry. All right. Because we went to the hood, bankhead, you hear me? And we were sharing bowls and noodles. And you know, like, it wasn't like I ain't know what it was, because up there where we stayed, we didn't have the biggest house, but it was comfortable. I had my own room. I ain't had to share nothing, you feel me? But for my mama to come get me, like, she was just big balling and put me in a room with my sister in the same bed who be peed on her. She be peeing in the bed and stuff, y'all. It was so horrible. But, you know, I got used to it. I'm a hood baby now. But like in between them stages growing up, I was good. I try to help my mama out as much as I can, but my mama used to always like, she used to always, and when I say always, like, she would always find a reason to have some type of issue with me. And this is before my stepdad molested me. So it's like she had a vendetta with me. Then I found out my dad used to beat on her. Okay, I get it. And then I found out she lost a son because he beat on her. Oh, okay, definitely. And I think they say I look like him. You know, I look like all of y'all. You should be mad at yourself too. So, again, as long as I can remember, she really ain't treated me right. But I remember specifically, I think I was like 7, almost 8. It was going towards the time when school was about to get out. And my sister was asleep at the top of the bunk bed, and I was on the bottom, and I had the one that led up into a sofa. And that's so disrespectful.
I didn't try to do that.
But we had been up all night, and she was like, y'all was watching scary movies. The scary movies had nothing to do with that. I'm definitely not scared of no damn scary movie shit. If it's my time, it's my time, you know? Just scared of none of that. So I couldn't sleep, and I think I couldn't sleep because I had ate so much candy. I think I had a real bad stomach ache. But after tossing and turning for a minute, like, I heard my door creep open. And I'm looking at my sister. I'm like, you sleep? She's snoring. And then next thing you know, I see these little black figures circling my bed. And they did that for like an hour. So me being me, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So I put my head under the cover and I prayed until I went to sleep. And then when I woke up the next morning, I told my mama, and she was like, it's because you bad. And I was like, I don't do nothing bad. I play kickball. What are you talking about? Like, that's not bad. I was a good kid. Is when I realized, like, she don't give a fuck about me, that I started acting the fuck up. Anywho. But that was one of the first times that after my great grandmother, that was one of the first times that I realized, like, and I went and talked to my grandma, my nana, and she told me the same thing her mama told me, like, basically that I was touched by the spirits and that the devil was sending his people to try to take me before I could reach my maximum potential. Imagine somebody telling you some shit like that at 7.5, 8 years old. Next thing you know, I was the weirdest kid ever. I ain't want to talk to nobody. I ain't know if nobody was a demon. And I couldn't even express it to my mama because in her eyes, shit, I don't even think I was her kid. And I got mad. I told her she should have swallowed, but she don't listen. Anywho, it was meant for me to be here. And I think that's why she's so mad. Because she couldn't stop my show. Never could, never will. Even though she tried to put me in a nut house. Well, she didn't try. She did for a whole month. But it was the best month ever at 12, you know. Had my own room, a flat screen TV. Didn't know what a flat screen looked like till I went to the nut house. And they said I was mentally ill. And I realized I was because I didn't know how to love myself. Because my mama didn't love me.
She better come out with that jacket on. She got my ID.
And it caused a lot. My daughter, my 13-year-old daughter, spoke on something the other day where she said, your kids will either be just as worse as you were or better. It depends on you, the parent, how you treat them, right? And then she stated, that's why my mom suffered the way she did and couldn't raise us, because you never supported her. For a 13-year-old to understand that, it speaks facts. So basically, like, I'm healing and still coming to terms, like, with the fact that my mama don't fucking love me. And she ain't gonna love me because she love the nigga that molested me. But that's life, right? Dealing with parents who stuck in the past, who don't want to grow, who feel like man should always come first instead of their kids. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I went through that. I did. I put a nigga before my children, tried to kill him. because he used to put his hands on me because I thought that was love, abuse. And it just made me so angry and cold to the point where I really tried to kill that man. Sat in jail for 6 months, lost my kids. I lost a lot. And literally had to be broken down to nothing to start over and start to learn to love myself. And it still took years. I think I just not perfected that shit. Like the beginning of this year. And I'm 31. So y'all not alone. Shit gets deep. And that's just part of the beginning. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. But we'll be back. Ha!